The only thing it's missing is a kickstart. You feel like you should have a kickstart on this because that'd be really cool. Right, hello everybody. Yes, it's two-wheel rider. So we're out on something really special today, and this was sort of our last minute thing really, so wasn't expected to get to ride this. So yes, we're on the Norton 961Sp. Cool. So yeah, the Commando, and I'm out on a beautiful day. It's lovely. We're in the Sussex countryside, and thanks to Southdown Motorcycles because they've let me the motorbike today, and I've had a fantastic morning on it. But without further ado, we'll do what we normally do. We're going to have a look around the bike and have a chat about it, because the bike is more about, you know, it's about the experience. It's not about facts and figures and power and, you know, all that sort of stuff. It's about what the bike gives you, and this bike really does give you something special. So yeah, let's have a look, and we'll do a little bit of riding. Right, I'll see you in a sec, everybody. Right, so here we are, the Norton 961Sp, the Commando. And I've got to say that this is not disappointed. Wasn't sure about this bike. You know, I've seen lots of reviews online, and you know, sort of saying it's this, that, and the other. And it's vibey and all this shit. And I just think that's missing the point. You know, it's not a refined race bike. It's not a British attempt at being, you know, a super bike. It's what it is. It's a classic English, British motorcycle, built in that tradition. You know, dry sump, push rod engine, twin cylinder, and it does that absolutely perfectly for me. The minute you get on this and you push that button, and it sort of splutters into life, a bit like a Spitfire. You know, you see those old films with a Spitfire starting up, blah, 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 blah. It's like that. It really is like that. The only thing it's missing is a kickstart. You feel like you should have a kickstart on this because that'd be really cool. But it's been a joy, and I've taken it up over the back. I'm in a place called East Meon at the moment, not far from Southdown Motorcycles, who fantastically lent me this motorcycle for the morning. It's been really kind of them to do that, and you know, this bike has not disappointed. It's just been one of the nicest experiences I've ever had on a motorbike. And I took it across, you can't really see, but over the top there, over the hills, the downs, and there's a phenomenal road up there, and it's just awesome. You'll see that footage. I'm doing a little nice tribute to T.E. Lawrence, but it's a thing where we did a visit to Clouds Hill, the house where he ended his life, or at the end of his life where he lived. So do look out for that. And I thought I'd do it on this, so I did a ride as I narrate it. But anyway, back to this. So, you know, the criticism people have, it's expensive, you know, it's got lots of vibration, and it's this, that, and the other. It's not a modern sports bike. It is a classic English motorcycle, and it's in that tradition. But the thing is, when you, as I said, when you press the button, you start it up, and it splutters into life. You know you're on something quite special, something that someone's taken a lot of time and effort to build. I'll show you around the bike anyway, as I'm narrating this. But the actual fixtures and fittings are superb. You've got all the important parts. You know, you've got Olin suspension. The exhausts are awesome. Brakes are phenomenal. The front brake particularly is absolutely superb. You've got the twin rotors on there with the massive Brembos. The rear brake has got the right amount of feel that you'd want on a rear brake, really, when you're getting those sort of slightly greasy roads that they've been around here today. But your actual fixtures and fittings, the C with the lovely Norton on there, all stitched in, you know, black and I think the silver's really good. But the couple of colours they do this in the black as well. I just think it's absolutely stunning, absolutely stunning. It's got the quirky side stand, which I'll show you. You know, it's way forward, but it's where it had to go, really. But the frame is beautifully welded and finished. I love the grips, these sort of Brembo lever mechanisms. They're absolutely stunning, absolutely superb. The clocks, you know, normal analog clocks, which is all you ever want. There's no fuel gauge, but it does bleep at you when I think it's got about a quarter of a tank on it. I managed to put a bit of fuel in it this morning, because it did bleep at me after a while, so I thought I'd just put a tenner's worth in. But when you actually look around the bike, the actual fixtures and fittings are absolutely superb, and what a setting to have it in, this lovely little southern chalk stream. This is where this bike should be, isn't it, really? Absolutely amazing. And I know it's got its detractors, this bike, but I think the thing to remember is that you want a bike built in the UK, where everything's made in the UK, the engine and everything like that. You know, this is not an easy stamp out engine that you press a button, it comes out the other end. You know, these take a lot of time, a lot of effort. The build ratio on these, I think, is 300 a year. Norton build 300 of these, around 300 of these a year. You can't do that cheaply. You know, that's almost boutique. And I know that they're now owned by TVS, and you know, lots of things happening with Norton at the moment, which is great. And I think bringing a big investor like TVS in there will secure Norton for the future, and I think that's really important. We don't want to lose any more of these big names. They've come back, and I think we need them in the motorcycling world. Right, let's get it out. Let's get it out for a ride. Let's take it for a ride, and then I can tell you what I think about the actual riding of it. The experience is. Spoiler alert: it's really, really good. Let's go. Come on. I'm not going to do the start the ride when I'm actually on the bike. I thought I'd start the ride when we're actually on it. Get us started, because this thing splutters into life like I don't know what. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's not a criticism. It's actually a compliment, because I think it's awesome. Come on, let's go for a ride. You ready? That is so cool. It's such an awesome bike. Right, let's go ride. I can't go too mad today because it's a little bit wet, and it's got the smell and everything, this bike. It's just absolutely, you're transported to a time when motorcycling was motorcycling, if that makes any sense. Come on, let's go for a ride. We'll go for a little tour around the quiet streets of East Meon. I just hope you can hear me. I better put my lid down, and I'm trying to think what this actually reminds me of. It's a little bit sort of reminds me of my my Tiger 90. You know, it's got that feel of an old bike, and I mean, you know, this is classic motorbike riding in the true sense of the word. You know, there's nothing I would say sophisticated, but there's nothing, you know, just, I can't even think of the right words. It's funny, isn't it? You know, I want to say nothing easy. It's just, you've got to ride it. It's a bike you have to ride, and the sound is just brutal. You know, you've got that that twin pushrod engine, twin cylinder, dry sump. I'm not going to explain all that if you don't know what it is, but it just means that the oil isn't whooshing around in the sump, it's being pumped around the engine. But just the noise of it, the feel of it, you can feel the vibration, and there is vibration through the seat. You know, it's like you're getting ready for the TT. You can imagine what people are, you know, doing the TT racing, and this is probably what it felt like on the start line back in 1939. Whoa. It's got a lovely smooth power delivery, nothing urgent about it. You know, this is a real occasion. Do you know what I mean? It's a bike you take out on an occasion and just enjoy yourself. Gearbox is nice and slick. The brakes are really good, actually. The fronts, you know, the front brake is got plenty of go. You don't want to get caught out on that. You know, it's really does pull up nice. You just have those situations, you know, when you suddenly get a clear, dry bit of road, you think, I'll just open it up a little bit. I'll just give it a little bit of something. You come onto a little hill. It's one of those bikes where you're slightly lost for words, because it's quite magical, and it's one of those things where it takes you back to the romance of riding. You know, it's we seem to lose that a little bit, don't we, with our, you know, these ultra fast bikes and, you know, high revving engines. This takes you back to a time when, you know, when men were men and sheep were scared, and, you know, we're before the period of you know, Maverick and his GPZ. This is more like, you know, when the Spitfire pilots got out of their planes during the Battle of Britain, they got onto a Norton, didn't they? They didn't get onto a GPZ. I'm just talking nonsense now, aren't I? Suspension's actually rather nice. Many people are saying this is, they say it's quite an uncomfortable bike, but actually the seat's pretty wide, and I'm not getting that. It actually reminds me slightly there, just slightly then, of my early Bonneville. But there's a lot of trick parts in it, you know, you've got the Olin suspension, you've got your Brembos, so they're not scrimping on components. It's actually, do you know what, this is actually a very easy bike to ride. I thought it was going to be a bit more of a bit harder than this to ride. You've got to ride it, but it's not a difficult bike to ride. And do you know what, now I know what it reminds me of. It reminds me of my early Ducati Monster, my 800 injected Monster, which again was, you know, it had that sort of brutal nature to it. You knew you had loads of power sitting there, and as soon as you opened it up, it was like, whoa. plenty of feel through the steering. There's plenty of feel through the steering. You know, you can feel the engine right through your whatnots. And I like that. People say, "Oh, well, it's not very refined, is it?" You know, but it's not. It's an engine based on old technology, really. Push-rod engine. It's not agricultural. It's just of its time, isn't it, really? And I think that's the whole thing about this bike. It's not about horsepower and, you know, cruise control and all that sort of stuff. It's about the experience. You know, this is a bike you get on and go out and just enjoy life, don't you? You just enjoy life. You've got that fantastic soundtrack in your ears, or you put on a bit of music in your headset, some of your favourite music, and you just think about life. You just think about life and your loves and what's going on in the world. You just lose it. Just lose yourself in actually riding the bike. You know, finding a corner and just giving it a little bit of acceleration. It's just fab. I know people criticise this because it's, you know, quite an expensive bike, but this is the issue, isn't it? If you want your bike built in the UK, and this is all built in the UK, engine manufactured here, all the rest of it, you know, you have to pay for it. You know, we're not going to work for $2 a day. You know, and this is a small production. You know, you're looking at 300 bikes a year, or 300 of these Commandos a year. You can't sell that for tuppence. You've got to maintain a factory and all the rest of it. You know, these things are expensive. They're expensive. We might think of it as an expensive toy, but you got to cough up, unfortunately, if you want to do that. Where else would you want to be on a sunny afternoon? You know, on some lovely country roads. Shame they're not all at national speed limit. I think this is what we do so well in the UK. You know, we're still prepared to make something as lovely as this, and sort of damn the consequences until it all goes crashingly terrible. But it doesn't matter, does it? You know, it's somebody was prepared to do it. Someone wanted to do it. They wanted to build a Norton, you know, and here it is, and it's available. Life would be terrible if people didn't take risks and just followed their heart, you know. And if they're prepared to follow that, why shouldn't we? Let's indulge them. Let's buy their products. Sounds a bit heartless calling it a product, isn't it? Let's buy their dream, because that's what it is, isn't it? People go into these sort of businesses, you know, with a dream that they want to produce something fantastic, and you know, they have a go. And why should we deny them that? You know. So, what are my final thoughts on this bike? Do I think there's any downsides to this bike? To be honest with you, no. You know, it's relatively expensive, but this, you know, I said before, it costs a lot of money to make a bike like this in the numbers that they're doing, and I think the nice thing about this is it is still just about attainable, isn't it? You know, and if you can't buy a new one, you buy a second-hand one, don't you? Because they are attainable, and for the people that, like me, that in my age bracket and my demographic that are buying bikes like this, you know, you get to a time where you think, actually, you know what, I would like this, I could buy this. This is what I want. This is my final bike. It's the bike you always promised yourself, isn't it? At the end, at the end. Sounds quite fatalistic, doesn't it? It's not too heavy. It's not that difficult to manoeuvre around. In real terms, you know, I don't even know what the weight of this is. I'll put the specs up if I can, but it doesn't feel like a heavy bike, and it feels very similar to my Ducati 800 that I had. It's got that sort of feeling to it, in the ride and moving it around. So I think the price does make it a little bit more exclusive. I don't want the whole world and his wife to have one of these. I want it to be just me that turns up at the, in the car park, and it's just me with the Norton on it. But I think the real downside for me is I don't own it. I don't have this bike. It's not mine, and I got to give it back. And that's the sad thing. But you know, it's a Norton, and the real tradition of Norton, and I like that. I think that's important. Cracking piece of kit. I suppose I've been gushing enough about this motorbike, but I hope it comes across that I just think bikes like this are they're important to the British way of life, if nothing else. So to the British motorcycle way of life, and I like this bike very much indeed. It's got its odd little quirks, the strange side stand and things like that. But when you push that button and it burbles into life, you just think, oh yeah, yes please. When you drop a cog, when you give it some, fantastic. Right, I'll see you in the next episode, guys. A little special one actually, and I'll still be on the Norton when you see me in the next episode. It's going to be a little tribute to T.E. Lawrence, and it was a visit to Clouds Hill, so I hope you enjoy that. But I'll see you the next time. Ride safe and look after yourselves. Take care, everybody.